Welcome to Virtual Voices. I'm Eli, one of your AI virtual hosts. Join us as we review previous videos from YouTuber Emmaus Road Productions.
And I am Miriam. And together, we bring you a deep dive podcast powered by Google's Notebook LM. This podcast is a generic AI-generated summary of Emmaus Road Productions videos, and we don't cover everything. Please consider watching his full video linked in the description below.
Ever get pulled down a YouTube rabbit hole and find something that makes you go, hold on a sec, what like really gets you thinking?
Oh, absolutely. YouTube theology, am I right?
This time it's Rapture math, and today's deep dive is on Emmaus Road Productions.
Okay, intriguing. So for those of us playing catch-up, what's the basic idea?
So picture this, the rapture. Some Christians believe it's this moment when God just says, come on home, folks, and whisks believers right off this planet.
Okay, I've heard of that.
But our boy on Emmaus Road Productions, he doesn't just stop there. He's got charts, graphs, numbers, tries to actually calculate who's in and who's out.
Rapture by the numbers, huh? That's a new one.
He's pretty upfront about it, though, the whole number crunching thing. And he's got a good sense of humor, too. Calls himself a face for radio kind of guy, so it's just his voice in the slides.
Hey, whatever works, right? So how does he decide who makes the cut for this Rapture list?
Well, first and foremost, he's all about that personal relationship with Jesus. Says just being born into a Christian family or going to church on Sundays, not going to cut it.
Interesting. So it's about really believing, not just the label.
Exactly. And get this, he dives into this whole concept of the age of accountability.
Ah, yeah. Tricky theological waters there. Where do you draw the line?
Right. The Bible doesn't exactly have a you must be this old to enter heaven sign. He even brings up King David's kid from the book of Samuel, to really get into it.
Okay, so babies, unborn children. He includes them in this rapture math.
He says life begins at conception, so they're part of the calculation.
Whoa, imagine the implications of that.
And it doesn't stop there. He brings up Matthew 19.14.
Let the little children come to me. I see where this is going.
Yeah, so he figures kids are a shoo-in, they're going up.
And what about people with, say, intellectual disabilities?
He factors them in too. Suggests that maybe understanding salvation isn't the be-all and end-all.
Right.
God's grace, he says, it might just be bigger than all that.
So he's covered a lot of ground here. He's really thought this through.
But it gets even, more interesting. Because he doesn't just talk about who, but how many. Like, what would this actually look like?
Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the rapture road. Hit us with those numbers.
4 scenarios he lays out. 2 for the whole world, 2 just for the US of A.
Okay, and where's he getting his data? Got to make sure our YouTube theologian is working with good numbers, right?
Oh, he cites his sources.
Yeah.
Straight from the U.S. Census Bureau's international database, even gives you the URL.
All right, I can appreciate that. Transparency is key. So let's start global. Big picture stuff. What are we talking about?
So both these global scenarios, they use that worldwide population data. But the first one, it's like the worst case scenario, at least in terms of numbers. He figures only 1% of everyone on Earth is really, truly born-again Christian.
Which, okay, depending on your perspective, could be a really low estimate.
Oh, he admits that. But he wants to start small and build up. So 1% Christians, add in those kids under 4, those with intellectual disabilities like he talked about.
We're talking, what, a few million people?
Try 921 million.
Whoa, okay. That many disappearing at once. That is chaos.
And that's the low estimate. The second scenario bumps it up to 10% Christians. Still not a huge number, all things considered.
But more people, obviously. And he's still including the kids, right?
Oh, yeah. In fact, he expands it. Now it's anyone under 9 years old.
Yeah.
And he upped the percentage of people with intellectual disabilities, too, just to cover his bases.
All right, so what's the grand total? How many people are we talking about potentially vanishing?
2.4 billion.
Okay, see, now that's starting to feel almost apocalyptic,
Oh, he'd probably agree with you on that one. But then it gets even more real because he zooms in on the U.S.
Right, because global's one thing, but what about our own backyard?
Exactly. Same logic, but now he's just using U.S. population numbers.
Okay, so walk me through these U.S. scenarios. What are we looking at?
So scenario 1, the conservative one, 1% Christians, kids under 4, 1% intellectual disabilities, you're looking at 29.6 million gone. Poof.
Still a huge chunk of the population. And his second scenario?
That one jumps up to 88 million. Just like the global one, he assumes more Christians, more kids, and a larger percentage of people with intellectual disabilities.
Okay, so whether you go with his low estimates or his high estimates, we're talking a significant portion of the population, both globally and here in the U.S., just Gone.
And this is where it really hits home, right? Because we can talk numbers all day long, but this Emmaus Road guy, he wants us to really picture it, like feel it.
And he goes there. I mean, he uses the COVID pandemic, as a comparison.
Which, whoa, talk about a heavy hitter.
Right. But it makes you think, even with 8 million deaths globally, the world was reeling. So imagine 80 million, 800 million, gone, like that.
And it's not just the raw numbers either. He gets into the nitty-gritty. Like, what if you're on a plane and suddenly, poof, no pilot?
Or in the middle of surgery. It's those everyday scenarios suddenly gone haywire that really make it real.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? He talks about this domino effect. Like, yeah, chaos at first, but then the economy. He says, forget the Great Depression. This would be, I don't know, the Great Tribulation maybe.
Oh, yeah. He definitely connects it back to the Bible on that one.
Which, hey, makes sense for a YouTube theologian, right? But even if you're not coming at it from that angle, you got to admit, the economy's built on people. Take millions out of the equation, whether they're workers or consumers or whoever.
Yeah, it'd be a mess, a total free fall.
But then, and this is what I thought was really fascinating, he talks about the long game, like what happens to society itself. Especially, he focuses on this idea of traditional Christian values.
Because if that's the group that's largely removed from the picture, what fills the void?
Exactly. It's like this giant social experiment, right? Laws, morals, even just basic assumptions about right and wrong. Everything's up for grabs.
It's a lot to unpack, no doubt. And whether you buy into the whole Rapture thing or not, you gotta hand it to Emmaus Road Productions. He gets you thinking.
For sure. I mean, how would you even react to something like that? Would it change your worldview, your faith?
It's those big existential questions that this deep dive really brings up. Like, how do we make sense of the world, our place in it, and what we believe about the future? And it reminds us everyone's looking at it through a different lens. No right or wrong answers necessarily. But if you're up for some serious food for thought, I'd definitely say check out Emmaus Road Productions. He's got a whole treasure trove of this kind of thought-provoking content.
Absolutely. So until next time, folks, keep those minds open and those YouTube algorithms guessing.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you in the comment section.
Thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe or take a look at some of these other videos. And always remember Matthew 6:33, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Until next time, have a great day.